Tonight, Governor Rick Perry is defending a secret trip that he took far away from Texas.
A trip where he took his secret police to secret locations and kept the cost to taxpayers a secret too, until now.
CBS 11 investigator Bennett Cunningham is here to unveil the secret for us tonight. Bennett?
We have spent months tracking down secret documents Governor Perry doesn't want you to see. But tonight, I pull back the curtain on Governor Perry's all-expense-paid trip to the Middle East. A trip that is raising questions about who might be trying to influence the governor and the decisions he makes with your taxpayer money. Jerusalem is one of the oldest cities in the world, and it has a new defender, Texas Governor Rick Perry. In August, Perry was awarded the Defender of Jerusalem Award. So the governor and his wife flew to Israel in first class at more than $5,000 a ticket, with his security detail of 4 DPS officers in tow, all to accept this award at a time when the governor was asking everyone else in state government to cut back on travel.
Texas businesses and families are tightening their belt. They're cutting spending. It's times like this. The state government should be no different. I directed them to start by curtailing taxpayer-funded travel.
The taxpayer bill for the 5-day trip, just for Perry's security, more than $70,000. The breakdown includes $17 grand for rooms at the swanky King David Hotel, nearly $13,000 for food, and more than 350 hours of overtime. But the specific price tag for the governor and his wife, well, that's a secret. When we asked to see the governor's expense records for this trip, we received 4 pages and no specifics. For weeks, Governor Perry dodged our questions and refused a formal interview.
Sorry.
But this wouldn't be the last time we try to talk to the governor.
This governor operates under the premise of believe what I say, not what I do.
Keith Elkins is executive director of the Freedom of Information Foundation of Texas, a group that fights for government transparency. Elkins says there could be a transparency issue here.
There's something else going on here.
What do you think it is?
I don't know.
Records obtained by CBS 11 show the governor's trip was paid for by Erwin Katzoff, a financier for energy companies around the world. And take a close look at the man giving the governor his award. He's Guma Aguiar. Aguiar's company made billions in the Texas natural gas industry, and Aguiar created the award given to Perry. But 2 weeks before this photo was taken, Aguiar posed for his mugshot in Florida, arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of marijuana. He pleaded no contest. And the governor had nothing to say about it.
There is just too much potential for conflict of interest with these trips, particularly with privately sponsored trips.
Sheila Krumholtz is the executive director of the Washington, D.C.-based Center for Responsive Politics, which tracks the effect of money on public policy. She questions if this trip passes the smell test.
Is this the real deal, or is this simply a kind of sleight of hand to provide cover, political cover for those attending?
CBS 11 obtained a list of people on the trip. The organizers described those attending as an elite cadre of 20 executives in oil, gas, biotech, finance, and technology. And check out who's on the list from Texas besides Perry. An out-of-state congresswoman, the Texas Railroad Commissioner, Victor Carrillo, whose agency regulates our oil and natural gas industry. Carrillo says he paid his own way, but refused to show us any of his expenses. Also on the list, a whole host of energy executives, the governor's family, even his son's fiancée, and a member of the State Senate Committee on Natural Resources, Juan Hinojosa of McAllen.
I don't recall discussing very much oil and gas in terms of with some of the business people there.
The governor and others met with the president of Israel, the prime minister, and Israeli soldiers. They toured the old city of Jerusalem and snapped this shot of Aggie souvenirs on the way. Perry even took time to do an interview with an Israeli TV station. Remember, the governor's doing all this while asking other state employees to curtail travel.
Americans and certainly Texans are going to be here supporting the citizens of this city.
Like the governor, State Senator Hinojosa had his entire trip paid for by Mr. Katzoff, and he also received the Defender of Jerusalem Award. But unlike the governor's 4 pages of documents, Hinojosa gave us everything he had, fully disclosing the trip's itinerary. Hinojosa maintains there was no conflict of interest by accepting this trip.
We as a public official have to make decisions based on public policy. Not who contributes money or not who pays for a trip.
I think this trip raises real concerns about potential for a secret junket.
The trip had its share of perks. CBS 11 obtained private emails about the trip. The organizer, Mr. Katzoff, asked attendees a mundane question to prepare for the Scotch and Cigar Bar. What kind of scotch would attendees like? Because there's, quote, nothing like a starry Jerusalem sky to touch the soul.
This can be a very lucrative way to conduct business. You pay for a vacation and you get in return maybe contracts or government brokered deals worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars.
We have not only the right, but we have the expectation to know how our leaders are spending their time if they're on official business. And if you're not on official business, then you at least owe an obligation to the taxpayers to show it didn't cost you anything.
A few hours ago, we asked the governor one last time about the trip.
I would suggest to you going to Israel or going to any other country where we can bring businesses into the state of Texas is a wise investment for the state of Texas.
In late May, a Texas appeals court ruled that all DPS expense reports for the governor's security detail were to be made public. 3 days later, the legislature passed a bill to get around that court ruling, allowing DPS to hide the expense reports of the governor's security detail from public view. The law took effect immediately. We will never know the true nature and actual cost of this trip. Texas ethic rules may require the politicians to disclose certain costs of this trip, but that doesn't have to be made until the end of the year. I'm Bennett Cunningham, CBS 11 News.